what would be the best way to say this? Let's see. Would it be eat shit Pitt? No, that's not right. That's not right. Hold on. Eat shit Pitt. No, that's not right either. That's not right either. That's not right either. Hold on. I'm gonna get this right. I'm gonna get this right. Let's see here. Eat shit Pitt. No, that's way off. That was probably the worst one so far. I think pause for effect. Eat shit Pitt. Yep, that's the one I like. That's the one I like. I might. That's the one I might go with from now on. I think the pause for effect really, really sells it. I think it really sells it. I like it. Sorry, I'm just, you know, since I encourage. The camera's way too high. Hold on, guys. There we go. You know, since I encourage just a little. There we go. All right. Since I encourage smack talk myself, you know, I gotta practice my own smack talk. You know, you can't encourage it if you're not good yourself. You know, so we all know that West Virginia likes to say, "Eat shit Pitt." I mean, that's just what we say. I've been called a potty mouth and, you know, everything under the sun. It's a chant. It's what we say. I'm not trying to be a potty mouth. Y'all know me. I don't cuss a lot. That's literally the only time I cuss is whenever I say that phrase. But I'm trying to find out the most effective way to deliver that. I think the pause for effect works the best. Check it out. I did it earlier, and I think it worked out good. Here we go. Eat shit Pitt. Yeah, that felt pretty good, too. So, I'm going to go with that for the rest of my live shows. I need y'all's opinion on something. Hold on. What did I do with that list? Hold on, guys. Son of a bee. I think I just wrote that down. What did I do with it? I write so many things down that I lose track of it. I'm going to show you my... Hold on. I think I got it here. Right under that. I'm going to show y'all my sketches for the new logo I'm trying to come up with. But I'm trying to find my list first. What the heck happened to... Oh, here we go. We got it. Alright, we're good. So, I've been trying to sketch my own logo, and I've got it down to two, I guess, prototypes that I like. They're basically the same idea, but they're a little bit different. So, y'all let me know which one y'all like better. So, we'll call this the first one. Do you like the first one better? And it's going to be backwards for you guys, but that's okay. You see the G, the B, and the D. I like it. But I thickened up the lines on the second one, and I think this one looks really, really good. But that's just my opinion. So I wanted to get y'all's opinion. Do you like the second one or the first one? The first one or the second one? Second one? No. Yeah, that is the second one. Second one or first one? First one or second one? Just because of the lines, I think I like the second one a little bit better. I think the thicker lines make the lettering pop out just more. That's why I thickened them up, because I like the idea that I came up with, but it wasn't popping enough. So yeah, I think I like the second one better too. Quick update if y'all weren't here for my live show on Saturday. Exciting news. Very exciting news. I get to give away a full-size helmet. Not just to West Virginia. Whoever wins the contest gets a full-size helmet. And the way it works is it is a super chat contest. Every $5 is an entry. So let me run down the list real quick of who all is in the entry so far. So we have Anthony Zapp. He had a $5 super chat, so he has 1 entry. Lewis Papp, man, this guy went all out. He had a $100 super chat, so he has 20 entries. Ray Finkel's house, $20. Make sure I have that right. 4 entries. Andre King, $5, 1 entry. Vandy Dandy, great supporter, $5, 1 entry. Rhino, upped his game too. $100, he also has 20 entries. Boxcar Porn Star, did not make that name up. That's his real screen name. $10, he has 2 entries. Huffer Billy Paul with $40 worth of super chats, so he has 8 entries. John Parks, $25, 5 entries. True Seminole, $10, 2 entries. Adam Jav, $10, 2 entries. Sea-Dog, $10, 2 entries. And Paul Riggs, $50, 10 entries. So we've reached the dollar amount to pay for the pay for the helmet, and whatever else goes over that goes back into the show. But the main goal of that was to have enough money to buy the helmet to give it away. We reached the goal. Good to go. Whoever wins the contest is going to get a full-size helmet of their choosing. So, you know, a Michigan fan will get a Michigan helmet. Notre Dame fan will get a Notre Dame helmet, and so on and so forth. There you go. I love it. The crazy thing is, I'm running this particular contest till the end of the month. So, I'm going to mark it for Monday. Next Wednesdays will be the next Wednesday's show will be the last super chat contest going towards that. Now, in the future, we'll have more contests, stuff like that. But for this particular contest, next Wednesday will be the end of it. So, we reached the mini helmet goal. And I had the idea of the full-size helmet, but we were a good ways away. Well, in one friggin' show, we raised, I'd say 90% of what it cost to buy the helmet. One show got us there. So, that was awesome. Tuggus Pitt, let's go Pitt, let's go Pitt. Yeah, I know. They're actually good this year. I hate to admit that, but they are. But their fan base still sucks. Can't pack out a stadium, but it is what it is. Anyways, excited about the Super Chat contest. $5 per entry. It'll be a live drawing. I'm not sure. It will probably be a week from this Saturday when I do the actual drawing. It'll be a live drawing. You'll actually see me write your name down. How many ever times entries you have. Write it down. We'll put it in a hat. And you'll actually see me pull it out. So, it's going to be a live drawing. I'm pretty excited about that. Who do we have in the house, by the way? I'm actually excited about my internet. I won't have to scroll on my phone like this. I know it's bouncing right now. Apologize. Nate DeGreat is in the house. Jeffrey Russell. Gabriel Dunbar. Starting the OHIO chant. Salty Dog. Let's see. Grumpy Grandpa Patriot Show. Jeff Grimm, Joey Foster, great supporter, partner in the show. The Sports Nerd is in the house. John Kelly, Christopher Foot, Richard Kuntz, Coons. Is that Coons or Kuns? Coons. I don't know. Tuggus Pitt, The Mountaineer Effect, Coach Hayes Football. That guy has a good YouTube channel too. If you're not subscribed to him, you better get your butts over there and subscribe because he has some really good. He's really good at breaking down player tape and information, stuff like that. I wouldn't be able to do it. Unique. Coons. So, I was wrong the first one. Okay, Coons. I got you, man. I got you. Christian in the house. Big Nasty. Love the screen name, by the way. That's pretty cool. Jeff Grimm, if I haven't mentioned you, in the house. Appreciate you stopping by. All right. So, it is a call-in show. Don't have a soundboard yet, so we still do phone to phone to Mike. If you have the phone number, feel free to call in whenever you want. If you don't have the phone number to the call-in show, all you have to do is email me your name, address, social security card, credit card number. No, I'm just kidding. Just your name and the number you're calling from, and we will email you back the number to the show. That's it. We tried giving away the number to the show in the chat. That didn't work out too well. The trolls got the best of us on that one. So yeah, all you do is email us your name and the phone number you're calling from. We will email you back the number to the show, and then you'll have it forever. You can call in whenever you want. So there you go. That's how you get it done. The rest of you who already have the number to the show, feel free to call in anytime. You're good. Let me make sure I have it set up right first real quick. Yeah, we're good. Sometimes it locks and it takes forever to unlock, but it was good. You're on with Golden Blue, dude.
Hey, what's up? The sports nerd.
What's going on, bud?
Hey, man, I'm just cooking some dinner right now, so I won't be too long. But just wanted to call into your show and see what's happening, man.
Not much. Just having another call-in show, man. Living the dream.
It's good, man. I want to talk about too much here, but I guess the only thing I could really say this week is the two big things are the conference realignment that's happening with the American and the Conference USA.
Yep.
What are your thoughts on that?
I think Conference USA is in big trouble, really big trouble, unless somehow they can bounce back and pretty much steal the MAC. It's pretty much whoever's going to be on the lowest on the totem pole that's going to be SOL. And right now it looks like Conference USA, but then they could turn around and raid the MAC, and then it'll be the MAC. So last man standing is actually not going to be standing; they're going to be out.
I've seen a lot of stuff where they could take a lot from FCS as well. I mean, there's plenty of, because I guess the MAC and the Conference USA are kind of like the lowest tier conferences, you know, of FBS.
Yeah.
So, it can kind of pluck from, either the Missouri Valley, they could kind of pluck from, the, God, I forget, whatever Jacksonville State, Sam Houston State, James Madison, all them are in. So
yeah,
I enjoy this realignment, though. I think the Americans going to be getting some good teams, too, because,
oh, yeah,
what was
definitely.
What was it? I think App, UTSA, Marshall. There's two other teams.
So who's going to the AAC? It's UAB. I got to think on this one, okay? UAB, UTSA, Rice. There's three others. Who are they? I just got to go through the members of Conference USA. I know Marshall and Southern Miss are actually headed to the Sun Belt. And so is Old Dominion. But, dadgum, those other three. I think it wasn't UTEP. Was it Louisiana Tech? It might have been Louisiana Tech. Not Western Kentucky. It was three others, and they're escaping my mind for whatever reason. But I know for sure that UAB, UTSA, and Rice. North Texas, another one. North Texas was another one. I thought UTEP was one of the ones not going. I could be wrong, but it might be UTSA, UTEP, North Texas, Rice, UAB, and one other team. There was one other team.
Yeah, your guess is as good as mine. I forget which one it was. I mean, there's a big
Conference
graphic
USA is one of those conferences where I don't have all the names memorized. Like, I can't just... Like, with all the Power Fives, I could run through them fairly quickly, but with Conference USA, man, I gotta think. There's a lot of compass schools, a lot of misdirection schools, a lot of, Charlotte, that's the one. Good job. Yes, Charlotte was the one.
Right, Charlotte is going to the American, I think, right?
Yeah, that is correct.
Yeah, it's. I think it's going to help out these mid-tier conferences, especially with the expansion. Because, for me, the more the merrier with these. Because Conference USA already has 14 as it is. The American went down. They have no divisions this year because UConn left, but they might even get up to 16 now with all their additions.
Yeah.
Well, then again, there is some that might leave for, Cincinnati and Memphis been talks of the Big 12. So it's I don't know when this is going to happen, but I think this is going to be even better for all the mid-tier conferences in college football, honestly.
Well, as we sit right now with Marshall, Western Kentucky, Southern Miss, and Old Dominion going to the Sun Belt, Conference USA is going to be down to 4 teams. 4 teams. They better do something now or they're going to be done.
Yeah, I've heard the stuff where, if they don't try to pull half these, about 6 to 8 FCS teams, it's not going to exist anymore. So I agree with you on that one. So,
James Madison actually, even though they're FCS, they have a decent stadium. They have one of the biggest stadiums in FCS, bigger than a lot of stadiums that are in the group of 5. So that was actually a pretty good pick. I'm impressed with that. And they actually have a good football team.
Who are we talking about?
James Madison.
Oh, yeah, JMU. They're probably one of the 4 best teams in FCS right now. It's probably, in order, it probably goes North Dakota State, South Dakota State, Eastern Washington, and probably, I'd say I put James Madison at number 3.
I would say North Dakota State, and then James Madison, and then Eastern Washington, and then South Dakota State.
I guess I was thinking of this year, but overall, you're probably right. JMU is probably second. EWU is probably third. Then, Jacksonville State, South Dakota State, all those. So, I don't know. It'll be interesting. I mean, I'm a big guy that likes the mid-tier schools, the smaller schools, give them a chance. So, we'll just have to see. We're at 130 right now. Who knows? We'll get up to 150 in a couple of years. But
I got a question for you real quick. Easy Money says, in order to be the man, you got to beat the man. Roll Tide, roll. So does that mean that Texas A&M is the man since they beat Alabama?
No.
Okay.
Simple.
I was just checking on that logic there.
They're not, because when you play a Colorado team who's now has a losing record, you play them to 3 points, give or take it was with your backup quarterback. That's not good. When you lose to Arkansas team who's now lost 3 in a row, who is obviously overrated, they're not even ranked anymore. Not good. And then when you lose to a 4-3 Mississippi State team who plays a decent strength of schedule but has not impressed anybody this year,
right?
No, you're not the man. I'm sorry. I mean,
So since they're not the man, would the logic of in order to be the man, you got to beat the man, wouldn't that be a little bit flawed then?
In college football, most times it is, because how many times has a Clemson or Alabama lost a game in the regular season, but obviously they're much better than the team they lost to by the end of the season. I mean,
so I guess in 2000. What was it? 2018. Who was it? Pitt. They were the man. 2017. Syracuse was the man, or whatever order it was. Yeah.
16 was Pitt. 17 was Syracuse.
Okay, I got it flipped around. Yeah.
Syracuse finished with a losing record in 2017.
But they were the man. They were the man because they beat the man.
Upsets happen. Doesn't mean you're the best team. I'm sorry, but it's a team that plays better on that day. It's not the best team in that instance. So
Kansas was almost the man the other day.
What's that?
Kansas was almost the man the other day.
Yeah, well, they were playing really well that game, most of the game. And then
there's this theory out there that they did drugs on that day.
Which one are we talking about here? We talking about acid? We talking about speed?
We're talking about anabolic steroids and meth.
That mixture?
Yeah, that particular mixture. And they still lost, though.
Obviously, those only worked for about 2.5 quarters, because then it started to wear off.
They forgot to re-up at halftime.
That was great. That was a good one. What is your... Okay, I'm a Michigan guy. I'm Big Blue. I saw your video about, overrated teams this year. And Michigan was on the cusp. They're the HM, the honorable mention.
Right.
I know you got Michigan State with the upset this weekend. What do you think is going to be the biggest factor in that game and the night game, Ohio State, Penn State? What do you think is going to be the reason, I guess, Michigan State beats Michigan?
Well, I think for both games, honestly, home field is going to be a big factor. I think that's number one. But if you want to talk about, what's actually going to happen in the game, I think the biggest thing for Michigan State is they have a running game that doesn't stop. Now, Indiana did give them a little bit of trouble, but everybody goes through adversity, and they got through it. They didn't grab an L. So I think their running game is superior, and they have a quarterback that doesn't make mistakes. And Michigan likes to take advantage of the mistakes of the quarterback, and the quarterback for Michigan State, he doesn't make that many. Now, if he were to make mistakes in this game, of course, that's going to benefit Michigan. So they have a solid quarterback, evenly matched, but with the home field advantage, the superior running game by Michigan State, and a quarterback that doesn't make all that many mistakes. I'm going to take Michigan in kind of a slowish, kind of controlling type of thing. They're going to want to control this game and slow it down. I think that's what Michigan State does. Now, the thing is, if Michigan were able to score quickly and kind of put Michigan State on their toes early in the game, then that switches everything. That would go in favor of Michigan. So I think this game will hinge on that first quarter. I know it takes four quarters, but if Michigan can get Michigan State off their game in that first quarter, Michigan definitely can pull off the upset.
Well, I think both teams right now have not been totally tested. Right. I mean, I'd agree with everybody saying they played Northern Illinois, Western Kentucky, all that stuff. Obviously, Michigan State has their Heisman contender. What's his name? Kenneth Walker.
Yep.
Although I do look at that, but I look at the stats and also say Michigan also averages about 52 yards more rushing a game as a team. They have a two-headed monster that I think probably have the best backfield in the Big Ten, in my opinion. They got Corum, they got Haskins, and then their freshman Edwards. You got a three-headed monster basically. So,
doesn't your quarterback, isn't he mobile? I know he's not true dual threat, but isn't he mobile?
Cade McNamara is kind of mobile. Mm-hmm. If you say he's mobile compared to a CJ Stroud or even I don't know, one of the Arkansas's quarterback, I forget his name.
Jefferson.
No, but I think McNamara is more known for just not turning the ball over. Of course,
right.
I'm gonna put that into the ether, and he'll probably throw 3 picks this weekend. But
yeah, that's the thing that I'm going to be watching is which quarterback makes the first mistake, because both of these teams have a pretty decent defense, and the quarterbacks they've been pretty good. So I'm going to be watching to see who makes the first mistake, and that's why I'm leaning towards Michigan State, because this is a road test for Michigan, a top 10 team. It's going to be tough to not commit mistakes on the road against a good team. That's my logic behind this.
Well, I agree. I think, it's been, I think they, what was I going to say? I think this game's always going to be a close one because, no matter what the spread is. Last year, I think it was 23 in favor of Michigan, and Michigan State pulled off the upset in that one. So, I do want to say, though, that Harbaugh I think he's 4-0 on the road at East Lansing in his career, so he's kind of owned Michigan State when he's on the road. So the home team, I think Michigan in 2019 was the only time the home team has won since Harbaugh has been the coach.
But on the flip side, if you look into that a little bit deeper, the road team has been fairly visibly the better team, as far as you knew who was the better team going into the game, and it was usually the road team. In this one, it's really close, so I'm not necessarily convinced that that's going to play a factor in this. But we'll see.
I know. These two teams are so evenly matched. This is a pick 'em for me. I think the spread right now is 4.5 for Michigan, but I think this should be closer to 2 or 1.5, in my opinion. But
I would call it even. Seriously, I would call it even.
It's a pick 'em to me. So it'll depend on whoever makes the mistake first. So
yeah, exactly.
I gotta leave you with this one. I'm about to go eat, and I don't want to be taking much of your time. I posted this on my Instagram because I started a new one, and it's at SportsNerd92.
Okay.
The ESPN FPI posted something about the remaining strength of schedule, and it put Michigan at number 7, it put Georgia at 5, and it put Michigan State at number 3. Now, comparing Georgia's remaining strength of schedule, they have Missouri, Florida, Tennessee, Charleston Southern, and Georgia Tech.
Right.
Would you say those 5 games are harder than Michigan's remaining strength of schedule, which includes...
You don't even have to tell me. No. I saw it the other day. It's not tougher than Michigan's. It's not tougher than... Well, they have Michigan State above Georgia, right?
Michigan State's 3rd. Yeah, they're only 2 slots above. They put...
To be honest with you, those 5 remaining games, I would put it in the bottom 50% of strength of schedule as far as the remaining games.
Thank you. I wholeheartedly agree. I don't know why anybody would think a road game at Tennessee or home game against Charleston Southern would be harder than a road game at Penn State or a road game at Michigan State. So
I mean, granted, Tennessee is better, but no, not enough to do that. No,
not even close. No. This is why I use my own analytics and not ESPN's, man. So
exactly, and that's how they trip Cincinnati up. They use their own analytics and say, Cincinnati's FPI decreases throughout the season, and they just keep falling through the rankings even though they never lose. That's how Cincinnati gets screwed because of biased FPI.
Well, I'll reiterate on that, or I'll go further on that. What if Cincinnati goes undefeated? They do everything they're supposed to do. They win all their games. They went on the road at Notre Dame. They went on the road, or they play Indiana on Indiana on the road, and then they beat probably a decent mid-ranked SMU team at home or on the road. I forget where that is.
That's at home, but they would have to play them twice if SMU runs the table, or they beat SMU and Houston runs the table and they beat a ranked Houston. Either way, they're going to get 2 more ranked victories this year.
Now, how would you take away or delete or take away points for Cincinnati, who did what they needed to do? They can't change their schedule mid-season. They can't make the rankings. I mean, these idiots are the same ones that put Arkansas at number 8 3 weeks ago, and said, "Oh, look, they beat 2 teams." Oh no, they still have one of the hardest straight schedules left. So let's not get too ahead of ourselves. Right. So how do they get left out? There's going to be some way that they get left out. The only hope that we have, I think, as fans, is that Georgia goes 13-0 and beats Alabama in the SEC title game.
Yes.
And then that'll open people's eyes and say, okay, the Big Ten champ at 1 loss, and then Oklahoma undefeated at 1 loss, and then what are you going to do? Put Oregon in at, who's 10th, 12th right now, or do you put in a 13-0 Cincinnati? So.
And the thing that I really liked is Notre Dame's out of the conversation as far as, either Notre Dame or Cincinnati. Cincinnati beat Notre Dame, so if you don't put Cincinnati in, Notre Dame's definitely out of the conversation. They beat Notre Dame, so I think Cincinnati has the best chance out of any Group of 5 team in the history of the playoffs to get in. And I think it would be a shame if they go undefeated if they didn't make it.
Oh, no doubt. I mean, they're ranked higher than 2017 UCF, and even I think they're the highest Group of 5 teams in Boise State. I think like 2010. So
yeah. And that's one thing that's going in favor. They don't have to work their way up. They're already at number 2. That's a big advantage they have this year.
Well, the only caveat to that is this is the AP poll.
It's not the playoff. Yep, you're right.
They could go. You could be 4th, 5th, possibly even 6th. In the initial rankings next week. But
that's true.
What favors them is that history's on their side with Oklahoma potentially losing and Alabama, Georgia potentially losing to each other. So
yeah,
I don't know, man. It'll be interesting. I just know that this week and then the next 5 weeks, college football will be entertaining as hell for college football fans. So
exactly,
I'll leave you on that note.
I got you. All right, man. Enjoy your dinner.
All right, man. Good talking to you. I'll call in either Saturday or sometime next week, man. But appreciate the call in. Thanks.
All right, man. Sounds good. Have a good one.
See you.
All right, bye. Yeah, that's gonna be a really a big time game as far as Michigan State, and an important game for the Big Ten. You're on with Golden Blue, dude.
What's going on, man? It's Matt.
Hey, what's going on, Matt?
Nothing, man. I figured I'd call in and we talk a little West Virginia football if you want to.
Absolutely, man. What's on your mind?
Nothing, man. You're in the brown cold.
Yeah. Apparently, I started this cult, and Just because I'm wanting to give him more time, I'm the leader of this cult and trying to brainwash people. It is what it
man,
is.
I guess I'm in the plumbers union with you, man, because I'm down with Brown too, man.
The thing is, they don't understand how college football works, especially when you're totally rebuilding. The only issue, and a lot of West Virginia fans are saying, "Oh, West Virginia should be 6-1 right now." I'm like, no, West Virginia should be 4-3. Now we're 3-4, but I think we should be 4-3. I think the Texas Tech game we should have won. I will say that. But we were in.
I agree with you.
Because here's the way I'm going to do that, okay? Maryland, that was a 50-50 game, right? Virginia Tech, that was a 50-50 game. Oklahoma, that was a 50-50 game. And then, what was the other one? Texas Tech, that was a 50-50 game. All right, so if we split that in half, let's say we won Maryland, won Virginia Tech, and then lost Oklahoma, lost Texas Tech. That still puts us at 4-3. That's splitting 50-50 games. And that's really, as far as the law of averages, that's the best you can do. You can't say, oh, they should have gone 3-1 or 4-0. No, splitting is what we should have done. So West Virginia should be 4-3, but instead we're 3-4.
Well, I think a lot of it is the fans got spoiled with the offense that Dana ran, honestly.
Yeah, that's it.
But a lot of it is what West Virginia fans need to understand, and trust me, a couple of weeks ago, I was really, really mad at the TV yelling and screaming at Brown.
Oh, yeah.
But here's the thing. The league has changed.
Yeah.
And Salty Dog, he's going to love this because I'm going to bring up the Bulldogs. Ever since Oklahoma jumped out on Georgia in the playoff and got beat, and then the next year got beat, and then they got beat again by LSU. Sorry, OU fans, I'm not trying to start, I'm just telling the truth.
Yep.
The league changed. The perception of the league had to change. So you got all these new coaches in, the basketball on grass went away. Everybody's moved to defense. Everybody's trying to play defense except Oklahoma. They're still trying to score 1,000 points a game. It's not working. The perception of the league went completely downhill because, everybody thinks we don't play defense. Well, we're starting to play defense. That's showing in the bowl games that we're in.
Oh, yeah.
But I think, like I said in one of the comments earlier in the week, I was really surprised. And this is what West Virginia fans need to realize is this. The coaches are the most stubborn people on the planet Earth.
Yes, they are.
They don't change for anything. I mean, and even the great Don Nehlen himself, if he had an offense that was terrible or something, he would wait until the spring to do an overhaul.
And what did he do? What was he known as? Run, pass, punt.
Yeah.
That was Don Nehlen's offense.
And here we are mid-season. We have a bye week, and with 1 week, the West Virginia Mountaineers offense looks completely different.
Yep.
It really did, in my opinion. I know a lot of people are just like, well, Daigie's still at quarterback and blah, blah, blah. No, it was completely different. The offensive play calling was completely different. Neil wasn't calling the plays.
If they're saying that,
on his behalf.
If they're saying that, they're not understanding what they're watching. Okay.
No, they don't.
Jarrett Daigie has the most passing yards in the Big 12. His completion percentage is top 3. He's a good quarterback. It was the play calling. And Brown realized he's not an offensive coordinator. He was trying to control the game too much. He finally gave up the play calling.
Well,
and
look at
it went much better.
You go check this. I mean, what would you do? I mean, honestly, if you're starting out as a grad assistant and then you finally get a job and then you're an offensive coordinator and then you end up at Troy and then you get a head coaching job and you become a multimillionaire because you're an offensive coordinator.
Right.
Then you get an even bigger job. You go to West Virginia because you were calling the plays at Troy.
Right.
I wouldn't risk my family's income or my life or my credibility just on that. And that takes a lot of credit on Brown to have the trust in his coaching staff, hiring the right people to be able to figure this out for him. He needs to be the CEO of the team, sell the program, recruit, because apparently he can.
Oh, yeah.
And hold his coordinators accountable. Because that's what Saban does.
And he did it at the right time. He let go of the play calling at the right time. He wanted to make sure he was comfortable letting that go because, like we talked about, head coaches, they're really, they like to have that control. So what he did was he took advantage of that bye week and made sure that, whoever was calling the plays knew what they were doing, knew what type of play to call in certain situations, knew which calls had the percentages in certain situations. And so to me, what we saw on Saturday showed Neil Brown's genius.
Well, just the amount of coaches that he has on the staff now, and analysts and all those things compared to the last staff.
Yeah.
I mean, he's brought in the right people. They know what they're doing. They've come from really good programs. I mean, the guy that a lot of people were saying, no, it wasn't Parker calling the plays. It was the guy from Minnesota. I don't care who it was. I don't care.
Yeah.
Who cares? They work together as a team, and they put the players and they put their playmakers in space. You saw wide receivers wide open. He's a decent quarterback. I mean, he's not the greatest. Lord knows he's not.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. He's the most efficient guy that we have on the roster at the moment.
Yes.
Like the 60-some-plus yarder that Garrett Greener, and I love him. I mean, everybody wants the dual-threat quarterback that runs a 4.5 40. He's amazing. But he's only 5'9".
Yeah.
So what people need to understand today, he's not Pat White. There's only going to be one Pat White ever in the existence of WVU football. There's never going to be another one.
Yep.
There's never going to be another Owen. I mean, that dude was a freak.
That's another thing people don't realize with Garrett Green. He doesn't have the weapons that Pat White had. And yes, Pat White made plays with his legs, but he also had to have receivers and a fullback that could do some damage as well. And Steve Slayton.
Well, here's the thing with that Golden Blue, dude. You got Garrett Green. He's 5'9". He's 195 pounds soaking wet, okay? Now, you're going to run through a whole Big 12 season with a dual-threat quarterback running all the time. The reason why he was benched after the 60-some-odd-yard run that he got was because there was a 5 yards, because it was an RPO. Mm-hmm. He didn't even look at the pass. The 5-yard slant was wide open, and Brown is trying to corral him, kind of like Petrino did Lamar Jackson, honestly, trying to keep him in the pocket to read a defense, because he knows he's capable of doing it.
Yeah.
Because he knows when he starts running, there's going to be a big linebacker or a defensive lineman or somebody that's going to clean his clock, and your season's done.
Yeah. He's... A lot of people think that Neil Brown is trying to change Garrett Green. He's not. Neil Brown knows what Garrett Green is capable of with his arm, and he's looking out for his health. He doesn't want Garrett Green to, get years shaved off his life, or concussion, or, broken whatever. And
or torn ACL.
The reads that Garrett Green makes is dangerous sometimes. I mean, he's electric. Trust me, he's electric, but he's small and he's risky.
Right. Now, this Nico kid, he's
a stud. Horse. He's a stud.
He's a 6 foot. I mean, you know how it is with West Virginia. They're 7 feet tall until they get there, and then they're 6'5". That's all the linemen are. But this kid's actually about 6'4", 6'5".
Yeah,
so 235 pounds. He's tough. I mean, he's got moxie. He's got everything you want, and I'm pretty sure they're going to set him up to start day one.
Oh yeah, I would agree. Well, even if it wasn't day one, I would definitely say he'll probably get a half in the first game. Probably the second half of who do we play? Pitt in the first game. He'll probably get the second half of that, and then the next game 3 quarters, and then by the Virginia Tech game, then he'll be starting. I think that's the way Brand will do it.
Yep.
So
I think he's going to be good, man. I think everything's going to be right. I think everybody just needs to chill out, calm down.
Well, think about this, too. We have the defense figured out. We're fine on defense. The defense has only had one bad game, and that was Baylor. Seriously, one bad game, and that was Baylor. And don't give me Maryland. No, the defense did not have a bad game that game. The offense did. We turned the ball over 4 times. The defense was on the field 4 more times that they shouldn't have been on there. And we still only lost by 6.
Win a ball game with turnovers, and special teams, mistakes, things like that, and giving the ball to the other team. You just
and we still only lost by 6.
The first game of the season.
We still only lost by 6. So they did their job. So really, only one bad game, and that was the Baylor game. And it happens.
And then with here's the thing. Everybody's like, well, the TCU game, it's just a fluke. No, it wasn't. I think they're going to continue with this. With this coaching, the way they're doing it, as a team offensive unit, trying to, the whole coaching staff trying to prepare everybody and work together and get the thing going, and that's the way it should be, and I think it's going to be fine.
Yeah, I think West Virginia has a real shot of beating Iowa State in Morgantown.
I do too.
And then the big game will be the next game after that. Probably Oklahoma State will probably be back in the top 10 by the time they come to Morgantown. So 2 ranked opponents in a row in Morgantown. I can dig it. I think we split it. I think we'll split it.
Yeah, I think they'll be all right. They might even make a bowl, to be honest with you.
Yeah, now in order to make a bowl, what are we at? 3 and 4, right? So Kansas State, we will have to win a couple road games, and that's the Kansas schools, but that's very doable. I know Kansas looked like world beaters against Oklahoma for whatever reason. That's not sustainable. 5. So we can get Kansas State and Kansas.
Oklahoma State or Iowa State, we're in a bowl.
Yeah, just one of those 3, and we're good. So I'm not. And we've played Baylor. They're one of the toughest teams. And Oklahoma. So really, Oklahoma State's the only team that I'm really, truly worried about from here on out. Cowboys.
I'm sure the bowl that we get into will probably be somebody from the Sun Belt or something like that, or maybe, who knows. And we'll probably be favored in it, and that'll be 2 bowl victories for Brown.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to hate on Dana, but that's more than what he ever did.
Exactly. And people are trying to rib West Virginia because Dana's over there, and Houston's sitting at 6-1. But the 5-1. Either way, the teams that he's beaten are combined 14 and 28. And the first game that they played was Texas Tech, and they got absolutely crushed by Texas Tech. So I don't want to hear.
Beginning, Dana jumped out on him. I watched a little bit of the game because I'm a fan of his he's a really good offense coordinator. Don't get me wrong. He's an offensive genius. He just can't adjust at halftime because he's stubborn.
And he's a loose cannon.
Exactly, and that's the thing with him. But his play calling and things like that is innovative, and it's always fun to watch. So I watch him.
Yeah.
Still a fan of him, and they jumped out on Tech. And then Tech made adjustments, and then it was over.
Yep, that's it.
But that's just the way it is,
That's the way it is with Holgerson. Good call, man. Hit me back up on Saturday, and we'll see how West Virginia does.
If I get the chance, brother.
Well, either we'll do really good or really bad, or I'll go as late. I'll go up to midnight. We'll squeeze you in there somehow. How about that?
If I can, man, I'll holler at you.
All right, man.
It's good talking to you, brother.
All right, you too, man. Have a good one.
Be safe, man. Bye.
All right, bye. Yeah, it's the buzz is coming back in Morgantown because TCU, especially after losing to Texas Tech, TCU was counted as a loss, especially on the road. West Virginia hasn't won on the road for 2 years, so getting a good road win and looking pretty dominant. I mean, we pretty much dominated TCU, so we'll see. We got Iowa State in Morgantown on Saturday, and then after that we get Oklahoma State in Morgantown, and then we go on the road to Kansas State, then we get Texas at home, and then on the road to Kansas. So it is doable for West Virginia to get to a bowl, but we're going to have to beat some teams we're not supposed to beat. That's a fact, or at least one of them. We will see. Quick reminder, guys, I am giving away a full-size helmet, not a West Virginia one, whoever you're a fan of. Every $5 super chat is one entry. We did raise enough money to buy the helmet and send it to whoever wins. So keep that in mind. So one $5 super chat is one entry, $10 two entries, 15 three, and so on and so forth. So if you want to jump in on that, hit the super chat button and you will be entered. You're on with Golden Blue Dude.
Hello, Mr. Golden Blue Dude.
Yes, sir.
How you doing?
How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Excited about the game Saturday, even though it's on ESPN Plus.
Oh man, I'm getting sick of that.
Pay-per-view football. It's like MMA, right?
Yeah, the one that West Virginia's game on Saturday for me. I don't know about everybody else, but it was on ESPNU. On my current package, I do not get ESPNU, and I know people suggested about Hulu Live Sports. I don't have the service right now to do that. Once I get the internet, I will be able to do that. So hopefully I get that really, really soon so I don't miss any more games, but we'll see.
Yeah. I think the team played a lot better after the open date. They got some of their injured players kind of healed up. I think they had over 250 rushing yards on the road, which is pretty impressive.
Yeah,
and I think their offensive line was getting their heads up and blocking well. They were huge holes for Letty Brown, and they got some touchdowns at least. So the field goals.
Yeah, the big thing was the offensive line. The offensive line looked really, really improved. Still a lot of work to do, but nothing like what we were seeing.
For sure.
And that was the whole argument for Garrett Green, because we have a bad offensive line, and people were saying, stick Garrett Green in there because he has legs, and I get that rationale, but, the secondary, the linebackers, the safeties, they'll start keying in on that, and they'll start, trying to knock his head off. So we just needed that offensive line to have more cohesion, because Jarrett Doege is actually a decent quarterback. I'm not saying he's the quarterback of the future or a great quarterback. I'm saying he's a decent quarterback. He just needs a little bit of time. So if the offensive line can give him more time, he'll make some good reads.
Then they were pass blocking pretty well, and he did rip a couple of way downfield, and he had some open receivers, several big 20-yard plus plays.
Yeah, exactly. So we haven't seen that either.
He's actually leading the Big 12 in passing.
Yep.
Somehow.
And we're last. Another thing that explains everything is going into this game, we were last in rushing. So first in passing, last in rushing. I mean, all fingers point to the offensive line. People don't realize how much that offensive line is important until it's bad. Then you realize how important it is.
Yeah. The players were really energized after the game. I mean, I was watching them, how they reacted and everything, and they just seemed like they were feeling upbeat. For the first time in several weeks, they looked healthy. I think they're ready for the back half of the schedule.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that bye week happened at a perfect time as well.
Yeah, about halfway through.
Yeah.
5 to go.
And the defense turned TCU over 3 times. That was one big thing that we did last year very, very well, and we just haven't been able to do that this year for whatever reason. So maybe that's the start of something as well. Like I said, I don't think our defense has played bad. Only one bad game. But we haven't been able to turn people over and give our offense, more possessions. The more possessions you give to your offense, the more chances you have to score. Simple as that.
Yeah, the Iowa State, we kind of own one. Last couple of years, they've been embarrassing us. So we're going to come at them pretty hard, I think, Morgantown.
Oh, yeah.
That stadium, even though it's on pay-per-view or whatever, we'll fill up that stadium, make some noise.
Yeah.
Cause some problems for the Cyclones.
I think we'll at least put 55,000 in there. It might not be a total sellout because of our record, but I think we'll at least put 55,000 in there, which is still pretty good. I was at the Virginia Tech game where we went over capacity. Man, I've been to many West Virginia games, and that's probably a top 5 as far as atmosphere that I've ever been to. It was electric. It was one of those rare where you felt like you were having an out-of-body experience. It was that crazy.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be the battle of 2 super seniors, Brock Purdy and Doege. They feel like each of their schools for about a decade each.
Yeah.
They've been rough.
Yeah.
Purdy has as well.
Doege transferred from Bowling Green, but he's been a quarterback for a while. So we'll see, but I think it's gonna be a good game, and it might come down to what we saw in the Virginia Tech game, where West Virginia might need to come up with a last possession stop, and if that's the case, I like our chances. Even Neil Brown, whenever that play happened, 4th and goal, had they scored, kick an extra point, they would have gone up 28-27. Neil Brown said once we got within the 5-yard line, he was 100% sure we was going to stop them, especially on 4th and goal. He said it was already playing throughout his head exactly what was going to happen. It was like he knew what they were going to do, and it looked like the defense did too. So I was like, I wish I had that vision before the play. That way I wasn't as nervous as I was. Now, once the play happened, celebration, yippee, hooray. But, man, when they were lining up for 4th and goal, stress level through the roof.
And the Frazier kid on the offensive line, especially on some of those touchdown runs Brown had in the red zone, you could just tell they were timing those blocks really good on the run.
Yeah, exactly.
The one run that he actually fell down. Now Brown was trying to break out one like a wide pattern, but he actually stumbled and fell. That was going to go to the house. He just fell on the ground. They stood up 3 blocks on that line to sack if he was popped free.
Yeah, I agree.
He still had 100-some yards, but I mean, he would have had probably touched on that. So.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I agree. That's the first. I think that's the first game that. Well, maybe the LIU. I'll have to go back and look. probably the second game all season that Lady Brown has gone over 100. Our rushing has been really, really bad this year because of our offensive line. So hopefully the TCU game was a sign of things to come because they actually have a pretty good rushing defense. So if we can do well against them, maybe that gives our offensive line more confidence, and they'll be able to hold their blocks more and open up holes more. We'll see, though.
I mean, they scored a tons of yards and points against Oklahoma.
Yeah,
we held them basically that touchdown that they had on that first kickoff. But that was, I mean, after that, 10 points the rest of the game.
The weird thing is that they also beat the brakes off of Texas Tech. It was like 52-31 or something like that. And then they turned around and they got beat by Oklahoma by the same exact score.
So West Virginia's defense was back to they were getting healthy again.
Yeah. And we held TCU to 0 points in the second half. That's impressive.
Yeah.
I'll take that all day long.
Interceptions for the season. We had the one player, 23, Woods, and that other one over there. They're the guy that caused the fumble there, and that basically sealed it off. So, I mean, we doubled our amount of turnovers on the defense in one game for the season.
Yep. That was the point I was trying to make. Good. Yeah, exactly. We weren't able to turn other offenses over hardly at all. It was like 2 times before that, and then we get 3 in one game. So we need to build on that. That's what we need, and we need that running game to keep on churning. If we can do those 2 things, West Virginia can do some serious damage in these last 5 games.
Yeah, Duggan's a good experienced quarterback as well. He doesn't really throw a lot of interceptions.
Right. So. Yeah, that's true. We'll see. We just got the one thing, Breece Hall, the running back, doesn't necessarily scare me. Everybody, basically games plan for him, and he's not having as great of a season this year. It's Kolar, their tight end. He's the guy that really can have some big plays. We really gotta strategize for that guy. He's a really good tight end. He's an NFL tight end, to be honest with you.
Yeah, they got a lot of tall receivers. I mean, that seems to be a staple of the Iowa State program now to have those tall, athletic receivers and tight ends. But they're a solid team. We'll have to play our best to have a chance. So I think we have a chance. Yeah.
Yeah, I think either way it's going to be a close game. If it was in Ames, Iowa, I wouldn't feel as confident. I don't think West Virginia's ever won in Ames. I could be wrong, but I don't think we've beaten Iowa State.
It's been some years. I mean, before the last 2 years, it's been a pretty good rivalry with the Cyclones in football. I would say the last 2 years have been pretty brutal, though.
Yeah.
For West Virginia.
They've been really good.
They kicked their ass pretty good. Morgantown 2 years ago.
Yeah, 2 years in a row, it's been really bad. Last year was a blowout. So, we'll see how it goes. I think West Virginia keeps it close, and it might come down to fourth quarter stop, just like Virginia Tech. We'll see, though. Good call, though, man. Call back on Saturday, and hopefully we'll be talking about a West Virginia win.
For sure, man.
All right, man. Have a good one.
Thanks, you too.
All right, see you later. See ya. Yeah, it's amazing how one game can give a fan base hope. Before the TCU game, we had lost 3 in a row, looking really, really bad. A lot of fans actually wanting to fire Neil Brown. And one game, people are, a little bit happier. Hey, you're on with Golden Blue, dude.
What's going on, man?
Hey, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good. This is the real Grim Reaper calling in, and I wanted to know if you honestly think if we have a chance making a bowl.
I think we do have a chance. Here's why. I know I briefly touched on it earlier. We do have to go on the road and beat Kansas State and Kansas, but they are really, really bad teams right now. Kansas State barely beat Texas Tech. I know Texas Tech beat us. I know that. But it was because we came out in the first half and didn't show up. West Virginia had no energy. Credit to Neil Brown. Got us, fighting in the second half. We still lost. But West Virginia is a better team than Texas Tech. for whatever reason, we didn't show up in the first half. So I think Kansas State's a bad team. I think Kansas is a bad team. Those are 2 wins. The big thing is getting a home win against either Iowa State this next game, Oklahoma State, or Texas. So we're going to have to upset somebody. That's a fact. We will have to upset somebody. But I think we have a good chance. Morgantown's a tough place to play. And, I'm not really scared of Texas. I think we can beat them. Maybe Oklahoma State. I think they'll beat us. But Iowa State, I think we have a chance as well. So not only do I think West Virginia has a chance to get to a bowl, but I think West Virginia has a shot to go 7-5. I'll go one step further. Maybe not a high percentage, but I think it's doable. I really do. Maybe beat an Iowa State and a Texas. I think it's doable. 6-6 more probable though.
I don't know, man. I think 6 wins would be hard, especially considered. See, with 5 opponents left, 3 of those are either ranked or have been ranked at one point.
Right.
Texas and Kansas State, not ranked currently.
Well, Kansas. Well, I did a video on Kansas State earlier. Kansas State was overrated. Kansas State is not a very good team. The reason they got ranked is because they beat a decent Nevada and were like 3-0. Since then, terrible. I think they've lost 3 of their last 4 games. Kansas State, I'm not worried about. Kansas, I know they quote scared Oklahoma. That was just a crazy game. So I have West Virginia beating Kansas State and Kansas on the road. It's can we upset either Iowa State or Oklahoma State or Texas? We have 3 shots. So and they're all at home. So, it's in favor. It's just we have to go out and execute. I think we can do it.
They are at home. I think it comes down to Jared Dagey not making mistakes. I don't think there's been a time this season I've ever been worried about our defense.
No, defense is fine. And I'm not worried about Daggy as much as the offensive line. That's the biggest issue that West Virginia's had. As long as he has some time, Daggy actually makes good reads. It's just they can't hold blocks for very long. However, they looked really good against TCU. If we see that offensive line that we saw against TCU, West Virginia can upset some people. But, that remains to be seen. We'll see how they do against Iowa State. That'll tell us what direction the rest of the season will go.
And just one more question. You really don't think Garrett Green would be the best choice at quarterback? Because I really thought he was going to start against TCU, and once again, it's the Daggy story.
Best choice. No, not necessarily. I think with the offensive line, it makes people think he would be the best choice because he has mobility and Jarrett Daggy doesn't. But defenses would start keying in on him, and his actual health would be at risk because Garrett Green is not a very big person. He's under 6 feet. I think he's 5'9", 5'10". A person that small taking a lot of hits in a game would be dangerous for their health. So, yeah, I think as far as the offense that we want to run, Jarrett Daggy is what we need right now. And Garrett Green is sprinkled in there just enough to keep the defense off balance. And Garrett Green is actually getting more snaps every game as we progress, just not taking over the entire game. And I think that's a safe decision by Neil Brown and for Garrett Green, so he doesn't have, a bad injury. I think the coach is looking out for his health.
Hey, I give it to Green. The few snaps Brown did give him, he has impressed. But I appreciate your time. I appreciate the call, man.
All right, no problem, man. Call back anytime.
Thank you.
All right, bye. Yeah, the reason I say Daggy is the better quarterback choice is because Garrett Green hasn't shown he can go through progressions. We need somebody that can go through progression. Now, if Garrett Green could do that and create plays on broken plays, absolutely, Garrett Green should start. But he hasn't broken that habit of run first, pass second. And, he has to get over that hump before he's going to start. Hey, you're on with Golden Blue, dude.
Hey,
Hey, my name's Nick. This is the second time I've called the show. I was just wanting to say, everybody's calling Daggy a bad quarterback, saying he's terrible, saying he doesn't know what he's doing, this, that, and the fourth. I mean, look, if you watch the TCU game, when the line gives him a chance, Daggy can make throws. I mean, is he a Heisman winner? No. Is he going to be a future NFL star? I doubt it.
Nah.
But if you give him time, if the line gives him time, he can make the plays. And I love Garrett Green. I think he's going to be very good in the future.
Yeah.
But you need a quarterback that's willing to sit in the pocket at least sometimes and try to make a play downfield. Green, it just doesn't seem like Green is willing to do that or has the patience to do that.
Yeah, I think the thing with Green is I think he starts panicking too early, and he can make plays with his legs. Yes, 100%, of course, but that's not sustainable. You put Garrett Green in there, and he doesn't throw the ball, and he's running every stinking play. He's gonna get knocked out, via concussion. He's gonna run out of energy. The list goes on. He's an electric player, but he has to learn how to go through his progressions if he wants to be a starting quarterback. It's as simple as that. Having, being mobile and having legs to get out of a bad situation is great. That's a bonus, but that shouldn't be the center of your game. That should be your exit strategy. This is a broken play. Let's get out of here. I agree with that part. You can't center your whole game plan of I'm taking off. That's not sustainable.
No, it's not. And something else, I think a good sign of just how bad the line has been other than the TCU game, I mean, if you look at Letty Brown's rushing stats, he really hasn't played all that good this year. And it's not because Letty Brown isn't a great running back. He is. I think he has future NFL potential.
Yep.
But the line just hasn't been there for him. I mean, we're a young line, and I think that's something people forget. Our offensive line is very young. I think Nestor is like the only upperclassman on the line. The rest of them are like sophomores and freshmen.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And last year we were talking about, how he broke 1,000 yards with 10 games. I mean, Letty Brown was having an amazing season, and all of a sudden this year, he's bad running back? No. He's not a bad running. We have a bad offensive line, and that makes the defense not respect our running game. So they're able to, only put 4 up front, and the rest are covering the pass, and that hurts our passing game as well. So that's why the offensive line is so important. So we can run the ball, and it opens up the passing game more. And we saw that exact thing happen versus TCU. Letty Brown started to be able to run the ball because the offensive line was opening up some holes, and therefore the defense had to respect that, started putting 6 and 7 in the box, and it opened up our passing game.
Yeah, I think, actually, I remember I was at the Virginia Tech game.
Yeah, me too.
The first play of the game, Neil Brown calls for a shot. Daggy throws a shot down the field to Sam James, I think. He overthrows him, but it opens up. It forces Virginia Tech to watch out for the deep ball because you never know when Daggy's going to be able to connect one. Because, like I said, if you give him a pocket, Daggy can throw, and I think other teams do know that.
Yeah.
But when you force the defense to look out for the pass, it's going to open up lanes in the run game, like you said. And I think that's when you're going to see Letty and this offensive line take more advantage of that.
Yeah.
The only thing about it is that Iowa State is a better team than TCU, defensively especially.
Yeah, I agree with that, 100%.
But I think, hopefully now that the TCU game happened, that we won the TCU game, the offensive line looked really good.
Yeah.
I think if Neil Brown can maybe call some more of those like wildcat kind of plays. It wasn't Wildcat, but it was like sort of like a Wildcat style.
Like RPO.
Like some
yeah.
And some wide receiver quicks.
Yeah. It was almost like a triple option RPO.
Go ahead.
I said it almost looked like a triple option RPO.
It really did. I think I hope we see more of that. Yeah. And going back to Garrett Green real quick, everyone wants to see Garrett Green see Garrett Green play more, and I agree. I think he should play more. But do you really want Garrett Green's first game to be against a very good, very physical, and very experienced Iowa State team?
Yeah, and the thing that fans aren't getting, it's if you look at the snaps, Garrett Green is getting more and more snaps every single game. But it's like the fans are like, no, we don't want you to ease him in there. We want him to start now. That's not how it works. And Green hasn't shown that he can go through his progressions. So, to be honest with you, Neil Brown is being very generous with the amount of snaps that he's given Garrett Green, given the fact that Garrett Green, not going through his progression. So, I think Neil Brown is being more than generous as far as how many snaps he's given Garrett Green. Garrett Green is not ready to start for West Virginia. He's not patient enough yet.
Nah, yeah, I think I agree with that. I would like to see him get some more snaps because I agree with you. I think he probably has been playing more. I don't know if you know off the top of your head, but how many downs did he get in against TCU?
I'm not sure off the top of my head. I have to go back and look at the stats, but I think he was up to the 30s as far as snaps go in the game before that. Who was that? Baylor. I think he got like 30 snaps in the Baylor game. So, the numbers keep trending upward. It was like he got like less than 20 in the Virginia Tech, and then by Baylor he's getting 30. So, he could get upwards of 40 in the Iowa State game. We'll see. It'll depend on what the defense gives us as well.
Yeah, I think we have a chance against Iowa State, and I think we still have a chance to make a bowl game this year. But next year, though, I think we have brighter days in our future. I really do. I think next year could be one to remember for West Virginia.
That's what I'm telling people that are wanting Neil Brown fired now. That'll be the worst decision West Virginia can make. Number one, best recruiting class coming next year via Neil Brown. Number two, if you fire Neil Brown right now, in year 2.5, a year after COVID, West Virginia wouldn't be able to get a decent coach for at least a decade because no decent coach that we would want to come to West Virginia would want to come to West Virginia knowing that we just fired a coach 2.5 years into his tenure, especially after being left with hardly any talent. So, at minimum, if, this is a big if Neil Brown is not the coach for West Virginia, if that turns out to be the case, you still have to wait till after next year to make a firing decision. You have to, no matter what. No matter how bad we do this year or how bad we do next year, at the end of the year, if a decision to fire him needs to be made, you do it at the end of next year.
Yep, I agree with that. And, if you were to fire him now, look at the teams you're going to be competing with, to get the best coaches available. Yeah. Miami, who I was looking for coaches, Virginia Tech,
yep.
USC, the USC job.
LSU.
Look, I love West Virginia. I'll always be a West Virginia fan. No coach in his right mind is going to choose West Virginia over any of that schools. Because with West Virginia, because of how our fans have treated Neil Brown, they're going to look at it as, well, I'm taking pretty much the same risk. I'm going to get the same pressure put on me, but I'm probably not going to get even half the reward.
Right, exactly. Less money, more pressure equals disaster. That's why the fans need to back off.
Yep, I think that's exactly true.
Yep. I agree with that, man.
Well, man, I'll get off here and maybe give somebody else a chance to call in, but I appreciate you talking with me, and I'll call back Saturday if I get the chance.
All right, man. Hopefully we'll be talking about a win.
Hopefully, man. Let's hope.
All right, man.
27-24, West Virginia. That's my prediction.
All right, man. We'll talk to you on Saturday. I hope you're right, man.
All right, man. I'll see you.
All right, see ya. Yeah, a lot of hope going on in Morgantown now. Yeah, I titled the live show Smack Talk, but haven't been hearing much of that. We'll see. I think Sports Nerd had a little bit of smack in there. I saw in the comments somebody said Michigan State or Michigan. I have Michigan State winning that game. It being in East Lansing, and I think the running game is going to be too much for Michigan. My final score prediction was 31-27 Michigan State. We'll see. And that's not saying that Michigan doesn't have a chance. It wouldn't surprise me if Michigan won. Yeah, you're on Golden Blue, dude.
Hey, roll tide.
What's up, bud?
Hey, do a little smack talk. If you look through history, is it going to repeat itself when Georgia plays Florida? Florida has never lost to Georgia when the Atlanta Braves has been in the World Series.
Yeah, well, I would put some stock into that if the Braves went to the World Series like every other year, or, at least like 4 times a decade. But, it hasn't been. Now, in the 90s, they did fairly well, but that's been a while. So as far as that particular stat, I wouldn't really put too much stock into it. And Georgia's just... I'm surprised that the line is 14. Georgia is only favored by 14. That really blows my mind. I know this is a rivalry game, but Georgia is a much better team than Florida. And people always want to point out, Florida gave Alabama a great game. Well, guess what? They also gave Alabama a great game last year and ended up with 4 losses last year. So you can't put much stock into that.
Georgia will beat Florida this year by at least 24.
Exactly. I got them by 3 scores, at least.
But the good news for my Bama boys is we got 2 players coming back this week during the bye week that's going to be healthy. And so when we do finally get to play Georgia in the SEC championship, it'll be a lot closer.
Ah, okay. I got you. What exactly happened? I didn't get to watch the game, so maybe you can break it down for me a little bit. What exactly happened in the Texas A&M game? Why did Alabama lose that game?
Well, the reason we lost to Texas A&M was we got a lot of first-time starters, a lot of, this is the first year a lot of people are playing. And so they really thought that Alabama would just walk in and, not going to lose. And so we went in there and we didn't play our best game in the first half. We got inside the 10-yard line and threw the ball 3 times in a row. And on the third one, we threw an interception, so we didn't score. And then we went down into the red zone again and 3 more passes, and then we kicked a field goal.
Yeah.
Alabama forgot we're Alabama. Yeah, we throw the ball the last 2-3 years, but when you get the ball first and goal inside the 5, run the ball.
At least 2 out of the 3 times.
Right.
Yeah, I saw those highlights as far as the red zone execution. I don't know what was going on. It was like Nick Saban coached a completely different game than what he used to. And it just blew me away because, Alabama was an 18.5-point favorite. Colorado gave Texas A&M a fight. They only lost by 7 at home. And then A&M beats Alabama. At the beginning of the season, I predicted Texas A&M to beat Alabama. I'm not going to lie, I did. But as the year went on and I saw how anemic Texas A&M's offense was, I completely flipped that prediction. Still happened. A&M still beat Alabama, even though up until that game, Texas A&M's offense did not exist. So I don't think that Texas A&M is all of a sudden a great team now. Like they went from non-ranked to now they're number 14, pretty much based on they beat Alabama. The ranking system blows my mind. I don't think Texas A&M is a top 15 team just because they beat Alabama. I think Alabama had a bad game, and that Nick Saban, for whatever reason, abandoned the running game for the most part, and Texas A&M took advantage. I do not believe that Texas A&M is a top 15 team at all.
Now, here's my problem with rating, and I've said this all. It's like you take preseason rating. Alabama's always in the top 5. Why? Because we always have a top 1 or 2 recruiting class. Plus, last year we won a championship, so obviously we're supposed to be good this year.
Right.
And I don't buy into that. Texas A&M is ranked because if you look at Texas A&M's roster, can you name 15 teams in the country that would not change rosters with them?
I'd have to sit down and think about that one. Probably not.
And I think that's why some of the teams, and I'm not saying all of them, but that's why some of the teams get a higher rating than other teams. It's because of the talent they have, not the way they play.
I have one other question. Since you're an Alabama fan, I have another question I have not been able to figure this out other than Alabama gets the benefit of the doubt. That's the only answer that I have to this question. All right, so we were talking about how Alabama got beat by Texas A&M, unranked Texas A&M, right? They fall to what, 1-5, right? Ohio State gets beat by a ranked Oregon, and they fall, I forget how many spots, but it was way more than 4. I think it was like 7 or 8. Same goes for Penn State when they got beat by Iowa. Same goes for Iowa when they got beat by Purdue. Why is it that everybody else gets punished way more than Alabama?
I think, again, it goes back to what I was saying just a few minutes ago, and if you look, I think they look at Alabama has more 5-star recruits than anybody else. We have the talent to win every year, even though we don't always play to it or this and that. And I think they're giving Alabama the benefit of the doubt because our team should beat everybody else.
Right.
And so they're saying, well, this should be a top 5 team no matter if we lose one game.
Right.
And you take like Ohio State, well, they lost. Well, when Penn State lost, since they lost, do you really think they're going to win the Big Ten?
Well, not now. I mean, they lost to Illinois. That's a whole different story, but whenever they lost to Iowa, I think they dropped out of the top 10. I could be wrong, but I think they did. I'd have to double check on that. But it was a pretty good fall. They went from 4th to, I'm thinking 12. Yeah, I think it was 11 or 12. But Iowa was a top 5 team, and it was on the road, and that's what really confused me. Now we can say, they deserved that because they got beat by Illinois, but at that time, we didn't know that Penn State was going to get beat by Illinois, and Iowa was a highly ranked top 5 team, barely beats Penn State. Penn State's Sean Clifford, their quarterback, goes out, which is basically the reason why they lost. They were up by 2 scores on Iowa, and Penn State loses, and they get dropped significantly. That was the biggest comparison that baffled me, and probably the Ohio State fall as well. I thought if any other team besides Alabama was going to get the benefit of the doubt, it would be Ohio State, and shockingly enough, they didn't. Now, they've worked their way back up, but they were definitely punished for that loss to Oregon. Maybe it was the defense. The AP poll looked at that defense and was like, that's a bad defense. That's the only thing that I can figure.
The other one that surprises me is Oklahoma.
Man, horseshoe up their rear, man. They have a horseshoe up their rear.
I mean, how do you escape every week?
And not just escape every week. How are you down 10-0 to freaking Kansas at halftime? How is that possible?
Yeah, I mean, nobody should ever beat down to Kansas, whether it's at home or on the road.
I don't even think Vanderbilt would be down 10-0 to Kansas at halftime. Maybe 7-0, but not 10-0. Nobody should ever be down to Kansas by double digits or 2 scores. That just shouldn't happen.
No, and you got Oklahoma, who has their backup quarterback in now because their offense was so terrible. So they bring in their backup, and they're talking how wonderful this guy is. How do you walk into Kansas and put a goose egg up in the first half?
And then you notice the announcers praised him because he stole the ball from his running back to get a first down. Oh, that was a heads-up play. That was a sign of veteran leadership and taking over the game. They should have never been in that position. One play doesn't mean that he's a great quarterback. It means he got lucky and thought on his feet. That was a good heads-up play. I'm not taking anything away from him. But that doesn't make up for the rest of the game. That may have saved the game. But then again, you shouldn't need a play to save the game against Kansas. You shouldn't need that.
But my question is, and I find it hard, and I know they're not playing well, but who's going to beat Oklahoma twice?
That's a good question. If anybody, it could be Oklahoma State, and here's why. The first game, well, the first question is you have to beat them once, right? You have to beat them once to beat them twice. I don't think Iowa State's going to go on the road to beat Oklahoma, so they're automatically out. Oklahoma State gets Oklahoma in Stillwater at the end of the season. So that gives them a chance, and then they would probably, man, I don't know if they could do it back-to-back, but as far as the best chance, it would be Oklahoma State just because it's at the end of the year and they get them in Stillwater. But I don't know if anybody can do it, is the question.
Beat them once last year and then had to play them in the championship. They lost. So that's going to happen again this year. I mean, somebody's going to have to beat Oklahoma to make it into the championship.
Yep.
And so, can an Oklahoma State, can a Baylor, an Iowa State?
I can see them upsetting Oklahoma once, but do you really get them the second time?
Well, here's the answer to that, okay? You want to lose to them the first time then, okay? So if you're going to lose to Oklahoma, you want to lose during the regular season as long as you still get to the Big 12 championship. So if Oklahoma State gets to the end of the year and their only loss is still to, Iowa State they lost to?
Right.
And you get to the end of the year and you play Oklahoma and you lose to them. Hopefully you have the tiebreaker over whoever else. Iowa State has to lose another game, so you have the tiebreaker over them. And then you have a shot to beat Oklahoma in the conference championship. That's the only way you're going to get past Oklahoma. You either have to beat them twice, or if you're going to lose, it has to be in the regular season. Otherwise, Oklahoma is the Big 12 champs.
Or do you think there's any way that either Baylor, Iowa State, Oklahoma, two of those teams can upset Oklahoma in the regular season and keep Oklahoma out of the championship game?
That's a good point right there. Yeah, honestly, if Oklahoma isn't going to win the Big 12 championship, they need to get knocked out of the Big 12 championship game. That's my opinion. So Baylor and Oklahoma State need to beat Oklahoma, and then they need to make sure that they don't trip up somewhere else. And we could be looking at a Baylor versus Oklahoma State Big 12 championship, which I would watch. That would actually be a rematch. Oklahoma State actually has the tiebreaker over Baylor right now.
And so I think that's about the only way you're going to keep Oklahoma State
or Oklahoma out of winning a championship this year.
Yeah, the problem is you have Oklahoma State, Baylor, and Iowa State. They're all evenly matched, so they'll probably beat up on one another, and then Oklahoma will be there to pick up the leftovers.
Right.
And then Oklahoma will get to the playoffs and get destroyed. Same story, different year. Honestly, you know what? I'm going to break it down for everybody. To me, this year, 2021, it feels like It feels like 2019 and 2020 in this respect. I feel like the regular season and even the conference championships feels like a formality. In 2019, it was LSU. We hoped they would trip up. It didn't happen. We move on to 2020. Same with Alabama. And this year, it's going to be Georgia. Let's just face reality, guys. I think this is a formality. This season is a formality, and Georgia's going to win the national championship. So whether Oklahoma makes it, whether Cincinnati makes it, whether Alabama makes it somehow, which Alabama would have to beat Georgia to make it, so Alabama's not going to make it. Whoever makes it, Georgia's going to win the national championship. So to me, it feels like a formality, and we'll see who gets to be the victim of Georgia when it comes to playoffs.
You know what would be cool with this year is if we had the expanded playoffs.
Yep.
I'm not going to say Georgia isn't the all-out number one team right now, but the next 11 teams would make a hell of a playoff this year. You know, I mean, you don't have 4 dominant teams. Like most years have at least 2. This year, you really don't have that.
I really love what you said just there because, okay, I know the point of the playoffs is to crown a national championship, but in the past 3 years, halfway through the season, it's like we already know who's going to win the national championship. 2019, LSU. 2020, Alabama. This year, Georgia. So at least with an expanded playoffs, we could get some entertainment. Even though we know who's going to win it all, at least we can get some entertainment leading up to the national championship. Like, look at 8 and 9 going at it. That's going to be a pretty good game. Look at 7 and 10 going at it. That's going to be a pretty good game. 6 and 11, that might be a good one. You know, stuff like that. Even 5-12 might be a good one. You never know. So the expanded playoffs might not necessarily give other people a better opportunity to win a national championship, but at least it would give us fans a better opportunity at entertainment because blowout after blowout after blowout has happened in at least one playoff game in the past 5 years, and it's freaking boring.
Yeah, where this year you could have like a Cincinnati playing a Michigan or you know, an Iowa playing Oregon, or you know, you could have some really great matchups.
Exactly.
And you can find out who honestly is the number 2 team in the nation right now.
Exactly. I like it. And I think it would actually, you know, give the number 1 team more of a risk to lose. Like, it wouldn't be as certain as the past 3 years as to who would win a national championship. They would have to beat more quality opponents. Not saying they can't do it, but you add another team in there, and that's another chance of losing. So that's another aspect that you could look at it.
Well, yeah, and then with the other game, you're also looking at to lose who do you have injured.
Right.
You know, another chance of you losing a starting or, you know, a key role player. Mm-hmm. But I think this year is so much more balanced than any other year in the last 3 or 4 that this year should really have the expanded playoffs.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be that way from here on out. We'll see. We'll see kind of this situation that's going on, especially the past 3 years. So we just need for it to happen. All the excuses are done. Every other freaking sport on planet Earth has at least a 12-team playoff, if not more. College football needs to catch up with everybody else. I know college football is unique. You know, we're more passionate, but we need to have a standardized playoff. That's just my opinion. It's time to catch up as far as the playoffs go.
Yeah, it really is. And the other thing I wanted to bring up to you is I think the new Big 12 is probably going to be my favorite league because every year you look at the SEC and if Georgia's going to win or Florida's going to win the East.
Yep.
And you got Alabama always predicted to win, you know. But you take Oklahoma out of the Big 12, who's going to win it? You every year going in, you're going to have 5 or 6 teams that are going to fight for a championship.
I mean, you'd have BYU, Cincinnati, Oklahoma State, Baylor, who's up and coming, Iowa State still in there. Yeah, it would be A very entertaining league. I agree with that, and I think adding Oklahoma and Texas to the SEC is actually as entertaining as it is already. I think it would, it's going to be even more entertaining. Maybe not with Texas, but definitely Oklahoma. We'll see even more points scored. I agree with that too. I'm going to get on to more calls, but you can call back on Saturday. I'll probably start my live show, if I had to guess, probably 8 o'clock, maybe 8:30. So make sure to come back for that, all right, bud?
All right, man. Have a great night.
All right, you too, man.
All right.
Jeff Grimm, he's a pretty good sponsor of the show as well. He's actually he's the guy that's allowed us to give away the $50 TriStateWizCatch.com prize, so I appreciate that. You're on with Golden Blue, dude.
What's up, Golden Blue? This is True Seminole here.
Hey, what's up, bud?
Hey, man. So I've been looking for the Ohio State suck nut, and for some reason he hasn't shown up for part 2 of this.
Yeah.
But I went ahead and did some research since he wanted to talk about a school like mine.
Okay.
So, did you know Ohio State has never beat Florida State?
I didn't know that. Wow.
Ohio State is 0-3. So, a school like mine, he's never beat. I just want to go ahead and point that out.
Hey, Ofer is still Ofer.
Exactly. That, and also I would like to say this as well. Long live the ACC. Congratulations, Talk Pitt for beating Clemson, which is freaking amazing.
But why didn't they sell out? Why wasn't a capacity crowd? I don't understand that.
It's not a college football town. Let's just be real. It's not.
But the fans act like it is. I mean, they're always out there talking crap and acting like they have this passionate fan base, and Pitt has 9 national championships and 13-9 and blah 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 blah.
Hey, they're passionate. They're passionate, but what's the
all 5 of them?
The Steelers on the market there, but maybe with the Steelers being down, the fans might look to the Panthers. I don't know.
I mean, you would think, and here's the thing, that the biggest, the students don't want to go to the stadium. It's off campus. It's 4 miles off campus. That must be the longest 4 miles in history. That 4 miles is brutal, man. They just can't make the trek. They're scared to, they might get pickpocketed. It's, crime rate on that side of town is high, and they just, it's a dangerous walk. It's the most dangerous 4 miles in America.
Oh, well, hey, you'll be happy about this, though, real quick. So, on one of your videos, I defended West Virginia going to the ACC.
Yeah.
And I just want to understand this. He said, I want to know if you know where anything about geography. Okay.
Wait. Hold on. Let me get it in my head real quick. Okay, I got you. I see the United States in my head. Go ahead.
Okay. So he says Louisville was definitely the current far outlier, and West Virginia is even further away from ACC schools. So.
No, they're not, man. That is dumb. Louisville is farther. Listen to this. If you want to take the core and whoever's the closest, Louisville would be the farthest out. Well, no, Miami. Miami would be the farthest out from the core. And then, I don't know exact mileage, but then probably Syracuse, and then Louisville, and then Boston College, and then probably Georgia Tech. No, I'd put West Virginia ahead of Georgia Tech, so probably the 5th farthest away from the core of the ACC.
I was just wondering.
Well, actually, Pitt would be ahead because Pitt's above us. So the 6th. Sorry.
Yeah, I was just wanting you to know, Kentucky's closer to Virginia than West Virginia.
They must have switched states. I must have been born in Kentucky then now.
And don't forget, where's it at? Hold on. Wake Forest is a legacy member and will always be a Power 5 team.
Oh, I saw that one. Yeah, legacy. They'll never get rid of Wake Forest because they're legacy and they're a founding member, and that's what they contribute. Yeah, that's how it works. That's how it works.
I don't understand how people don't understand this is a business now. It's a what can you do for me? Like that's what college football's turned into.
Yeah, exactly. And I'll give Wake Forest credit. They're doing well. in football this year. But even as well as they're doing this year, undefeated, how much money are they making the ACC? How high are their TV ratings as far as their football games? How much money are they making out of that 39,000 seat stadium that they have over there, that whopper of a stadium?
Apparently a lot, man. Apparently a lot. You know, they got huge financial donor boosters, this guy says. But
Yeah.
I'm like, where's that at in the ACC revenue? I don't see it.
Need to put that towards your stadium then, if that's true.
It's to buy everyone Powerade. Just.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
But it amazes me how little knowledge some people can know, which is pretty great.
So you have sent $10 worth of super chat, so you're entered into the full size helmet contest for my super chat contest. So do you have a plan of where you're going to put it if you were to be the winner? And I'm assuming you would want a Florida State full size helmet, right?
Ooh, yeah.
Do you have a plan of where you would put it?
I did not even know you were talking to me at first. So
Yeah.
So you're asking, I put in over $10 of super chat. Is that what you asked?
Yeah. So you have 2 entries. Every $5 is 1 entry. So you have 2 entries. You are officially entered. If you were to win the Florida State helmet, do you have a plan for it? Where would you put it? Oh, one more question. Which helmet would you want? Would you want the black one or the gold one?
Oh, I already have the gold one, so I would get the black one.
You would want the black one. Okay. You have a full size, and the gold one is a full size, right?
Right.
Okay. Just making sure.
Also, where I would put it, I mean, Christmas is coming up. My little brother's a big FSU fan, so I'd probably give it to him.
I gotcha. I like it.
Oh, yeah, man.
Whenever I started that contest, that's the one thing that I forgot about is that there's multiple, nowadays there's multiple versions of helmets. So whoever wins, I'm going to have to ask, which one in specific. You want the white one? You want the black one? You want the, the classic? Whichever one.
Right.
But I have a feeling I'm not going to be giving out a Pitt helmet because
I'm
no Pitt fans have super chatted. So I'm pretty happy about that.
Oh, man. Yeah. I don't think Talking Pitt's going to super chat you anytime soon.
No.
As much as I love the guy, he's awesome. I will say that.
I actually get along with him, proving that it is possible for a West Virginia fan and a Pitt fan to get along, but I titled this video Smack Talk, so I can't really be nice to him right now, because that would defeat the purpose of this show. So
man, I was excited. I seen the Smack Talk, and I was looking for the Ohio State guy. I'm like, where's he at? Where's he at? Come on.
I don't know what happened.
But, I did my research this time. But yeah, I like Talking Pitt, man. He told me I'm one of the only FSU fans he likes, so I guess that's a title worth having, especially if he's about to win the ACC this year. So
yeah.
Other than that, I just love him and C-Dog getting into it, though. I love it.
Oh, man, and he owns C-Dog for another year because Pitt beat the crap out of them this year. Man, that got ugly.
I didn't even watch that game. I was surprised Louisville beat Boston College, honestly. Which it shouldn't surprise me because Boston College lost their best quarterback. So
I was not aware of that. Okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah, Jerkovic, he went down with an injury, I think, after the Missouri game. I do believe it.
That's
but
cool.
I just wanted to call in and see if that Ohio State Buckeye was around here somewhere, but he don't look like he's going to show up. So,
well, he'll probably watch the replay of this and show up on Saturday. We'll see.
No, yeah, hopefully, man, hopefully.
Yeah.
Hopefully this other guy who thinks Wake Forest is just one of the top Power 5 programs in the country will show up, too.
Yeah. I'd really like to talk to him, for sure.
That is really interesting. I don't know what school he went to. He must have went to a school in Wake Forest.
Oh, have you talked to a guy in the chat section who goes by the name of Tar Heel?
Yes.
That dude drives me freaking nuts. All he does is he'll comment on the video trying to get me to react, and if I do react, all he does is quotes what I say, and then goes on a 5-page rant. Every stinking time. He'll quote what you say, and then go on an essay rant.
That's what he wants me to do. He wants me to sit here and type. I'm not going to sit here and just type all night long.
I have stopped answering to that dude because even if it's a quick, he'll bait me with like a 5-word sentence, and I'll answer with a yes or no or a little thing. He'll quote it and go off on an essay, and I'm like, oh my, I'm done. I'm done hearting his comments. I'm done liking his comments, and I'm done responding to his comments because all it is a waste of my time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what this guy is doing right now. I'm like, man, just come to a call-in show, man.
That's all you gotta do. That's all you gotta do.
That's all we gotta do, man. We'll talk it out. That's it.
Yeah, who wants to type? That's boring. Let's talk.
I did think it was funny, he said, getting Wake Forest out of the ACC just so they'll stop beating FSU. That was a dagger. I was like, yeah, they do beat FSU a lot, but in that case, we should get rid of North Carolina since they can't beat FSU while they suck. So.
Yeah, that's true. Kicking people when they're down, man.
Well, anyways, man, enjoy the show, and I'll call in next time. Hopefully this guy shows up.
All right. Hey, Florida State still has a chance to make a bowl, so we'll see.
Ain't that crazy, bud?
Yeah.
Hold on. I ain't even talking about Florida State real quick.
Yeah. I was trying to bring it up so you'd say something.
How I like coming into the show and just talking about it, but I don't really like to bring up my own team, stuff like that. But that's crazy. Like from a West Virginia fan looking at FSU, what kind of team is this?
I don't know. But, at the same time, I would be careful on getting your hopes up because that other team might show up.
Yes, you're right. The team that gives up, 40-yard bombs to Jacksonville State. Yes.
That was the craziest play I've seen in a long time, man.
How do you not put TDs in the backfield on a Hail Mary?
That was...
That was sense.
Yep.
I'm not one to fire people, but our defensive coordinator, it's just...
At least the defensive back coach on that one. At least the defensive back coach.
Exactly. Something's got to give. That's a whole other story for another time.
Yeah.
Man, I hope y'all can turn around and make a bowl, too. I like West Virginia. I ain't got no problem with them.
Well, since we beat TCU, the math is actually not as bad. Had we lost to TCU, the math would have been really, really bad. Now all we have to do is beat a bad Kansas State and a bad Kansas and then upset somebody at home. Either Iowa State, Oklahoma State, or Texas. So, we'll
Seriously,
see.
Dirty Sanchez says, why is an FSU fan trying to trash talk a Buckeye fan? You're right. I ain't got nothing to say about, recent history, but they've never beat FSU. And,
and if you're wondering, you need to go back and watch the live show. What was it? Yeah. Not this past Saturday, but the Saturday before that.
And then you'll understand the whole history of
you'll understand. There's some context to that. You got to go back and check. Hold on, Jeff. Hold on. We're about done. You can call in.
And don't forget, Sanchez, Big Ten is a pro football league. Just
yeah. You'll hear that too. The Big Ten is basically a pro football league. Yes.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. Well, I'll let everybody else call in. I ain't gonna hold you down. So.
All right, bud. Appreciate it.
Thank you, man. How do I know if I won that thing? How do I know?
I'm gonna do a live drawing. Probably not this Saturday, but the next Saturday, like on an actual live show. But I'll keep announcing it and keep y'all up to date on when it is. Like I'm gonna look at who super chatted what and write down how many ever entries, put it in a hat, and for real draw in front of everybody.
All right. Well, long live the ACC, and I'll let you guys go.
All right, man. Have a good one.
You too. Bye.
All right, bye. Yeah, I've been waiting on the other caller as far as the Ohio State fan. He said he was going to call too. We'll see. That was interesting. And it's really going to be fun whenever I get my my soundboard, whenever I can have two people on at the same time. That's going to be a heck of a trash talk segment right there. Can't wait for that. Let's see what we got going on. Jeff Grimm says Pitt is the best. Hold on. Well, he says Pitt is the best with a question mark. It's comments like that that tells me you're drinking again while on your meds. Oh, man. Yeah, there really isn't that many Pitt fans out there. Well, I tried, Jeff. You didn't call in. You're on Golden Blue, dude.
It's Talk is Pitt.
I was expecting you, man.
Well, I haven't really been able to call into your show lately because every time you go live, I'm usually stuck at work. It just so happens to be like that a lot.
Yeah.
But I wanted to ask you, what was your reason to make that video you did the other day?
Which one?
The one saying Pitt fans aren't real.
It was because of the Clemson game. I know Clemson is down this year, but I looked at your schedule, and that has to be your biggest home game. And y'all didn't have 100% capacity. It was like 89%. It was basically trash talking the attendance of the Clemson game.
Well, why is that the first thing you guys have to come after, knowing that 98% of the people who trash talk our attendance don't have to deal with a pro football team, a pro hockey team, a pro soccer team, a pro baseball team? I mean, that kind of is not fair when you trash talk us for that. You can trash talk us for being mediocre. I'll probably even do it with you.
Oh, man. I didn't know I wasn't being fair. My bad, man. My bad.
No. It's... You don't have to deal with a pro football team, GBD. You don't. Half the fan base does it. And that does take into account the reason why we can't fill stadiums. And even when we had our own stadium, we still couldn't fill it because of the Steelers. And I told you that the other day. It's always been like that. Always.
Well, I actually did some research on that, and Old Pitt Stadium actually got filled quite a bit. I was actually impressed. And it held 69,400. That was actually a bigger stadium. So I actually buy the agreement because it's in, or not the agreement, but the argument that you play in a pro football stadium and it's off campus has affected that. I do not disagree with that at all. I do think it has a part of that. What I'm saying is, my point was, how is there not enough Pitt fans to make up for that discrepancy? Okay, let's say that 10,000 more students would come to the game if you had an on-campus. Okay, I'll take that into consideration. We'll say that 10,000, we'll say 15,000. 15,000 students more would come to home games if it was on campus. How is there not enough Pitt fans to make up for that difference, seeing as how, the population of Pittsburgh is over 300,000? That was really the direction I was going in.
The population of Pittsburgh is actually under 300,000. It's been under 300,000 for a couple of years now. It's probably around 250 to 280, 285, somewhere around there. The population has dropped dramatically. One, two, if you've ever been to Pittsburgh, you would know there's 9 different campuses and colleges within a half-mile radius of the University of Pittsburgh. There's Chatham, there's Carlow, there's Carnegie Mellon. They all have football teams. They all have basketball teams. They have their fan bases. So we're really in a shit situation.
Hey, hold on 1 second. Jeff, I'm sorry, bud. We had an opening between Truth Seminole and Talk is Pitt, and he popped up about 4 or 5 minutes after, and then I guess we missed the timing on that, so I'll try to get you in after Talk is Pitt gets off. Only have one phone. I only have one line.
I waited for Jeff to get on. I waited for like 5 minutes, but he didn't call in.
Exactly. And I thought he was going to be the next one to call in too, and for whatever reason, I don't know if I'm behind on his screen or his timing. I don't know. I don't know what happened. Anyways.
So we have more than one college on campus in Pittsburgh. We have like 9. They have their fan bases. They have their loyal fan bases. Literally, Carnegie Mellon students don't like Pitt students. Chatham students don't like Carlow students. It's literally
a campus that rivals with itself, if you want to call it that. We were never a college town. We were never a college town, and people can't sit up there and say we were, because we never were. We were never a college sports town. We were always Pittsburgh Steelers. If the Pittsburgh Steelers left, we still wouldn't fill that stadium. And we only filled Pitt Stadium with 3 teams only: Penn State, West Virginia, Notre Dame.
Okay.
That's
I forgot about Notre Dame. Yeah.
So we have, as far as any other team that went to Pitt Stadium to play the Panthers, we didn't fill it. I could bring up a dozen pictures where ranked teams or national championship teams came to Pitt and we did not fill the stadium.
So, okay. From what I'm hearing, does that mean that you're saying, compared side by side, if the ACC had to choose, I know Pitt's in the ACC, but let's say Pitt wasn't in the ACC, and they had to choose between Pitt and West Virginia. You're saying that they should actually choose West Virginia because of the attendance, and they would make more money with West Virginia, right?
I would say that, as long as Pitt doesn't get screwed and go to a conference like, let's say, the MAC, because people said, well, maybe for Pitt to get back up to the success story it used to be, they should go to a group of 5 team. No, that's
a bad idea.
Worse.
Yeah, that's a bad idea. I agree with that.
That's a very bad idea. That would actually hurt us horribly. So if Pitt would have somewhere to go, like the Big Ten, like I said, we should have went in the first place, then we're fine. Just as long as you don't give us a crap conference and screw us. Because, look, I know you hate us because we're Pitt, and I hate you because we're West Virginia.
Right.
But the one thing I can agree on with you is West Virginia needs to come to the ACC.
Right. That was basically the point that I was trying to, as far as the road I was trying to go down. And that's... even though I hate Pitt and I'll trash talk them all day long, that particular slight wasn't aimed towards Pitt. That was aimed towards all the nimrods, morons that say that West Virginia doesn't belong in the ACC. The ACC doesn't want West Virginia. West Virginia doesn't bring anything. West Virginia brings more to the table to the ACC than what Boston College does, than what Syracuse does, than what Pitt does, than what Louisville does. It would be close with Louisville. Close. That one's close, I would say. Georgia Tech. Let's see. Wake Forest for
Georgia Tech needs to go to the Ivy League.
Yeah, Virginia Tech would be close, and I think we would bring more than Virginia. North Carolina has us beat. We would bring more than NC State, yes. And Clemson has us beat. Florida State has us beat. If Miami had an on-campus stadium, they would have us beat. But I would say we have Miami beat. So I would say West Virginia would be in the upper half of the ACC as far as what we bring to the table.
And I agree. And I'll say 2 more things so I can let Jeff get on, because I'm reading the comments right now as I'm on the phone, and I want to make one thing clear to your viewers. I do not hype Pitt out to be a contender. In order to be a contender, that means I think they have the talent to make it to the playoffs. I do not think Pitt has the talent to make it to the playoffs. When I hype them up as the ACC champions. That is it, because I do think they will win the ACC. I do think Pitt is better than the undefeated Wake Forest Demon Deacons. Yes, we have a bad loss against Western Michigan, and I'll give you guys that. I'll give you guys all the crap you want to talk about that loss all year.
That was a great day, by the way. That was the day we beat Virginia Tech. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, actually, speaking of Virginia Tech, because earlier we were talking about Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech has a history of blowing games against lesser opponents than Pitt does.
Yeah.
We're talking about James Madison twice.
Old Dominion.
Old Dominion twice.
Yeah, I don't know what. I think it's just a Fuente. I think he's lost the locker room, to be honest with you.
Definitely, but I will never hype Pitt up to be a national title contender, because I just do not think we are there yet. I think it's going to be 5 to 10 years. If we keep up the season we're having now consistently, because we're running the ball consistently, we're snapping the ball in 7 seconds or less consistently, we're not, committing penalties, we're tackling better. Come on now. In the Clemson game, you know what they tried to do at the beginning of the third quarter?
What?
They tried to throw a shovel pass. A shovel pass.
So they were trying to 2016 you guys.
Yeah, they were trying to 2016 us, and look what happened. It got returned for an interception, 52 yards.
That's hilarious. Okay, what about this? What about this scenario? I think the playoff committee or the bowl committee, whoever makes the decision, could make lemonade out of this situation. Let's say Pitt wins the ACC, right? And people are like, Pitt, they don't draw a lot. They don't even fill their own stadium, blah, blah, blah. I'm actually on your side in this particular argument. They could make lemonade if Penn State finishes high enough and put Pitt versus Penn State in the Orange Bowl. What would you think?
That's exactly what I had in mind. It was either going to be Pitt and Penn State in one of the New Year Sixes bowl games, because I think there's two of them. We could play Penn State, the Peach Bowl, and the Orange Bowl.
Yep.
I would love to have a New Year Six bowl game against Penn State, but I do not think that will happen unless Sean Clifford comes back this week, because you obviously could tell he wasn't 100% at the Illinois game.
So basically that's more on Penn State.
It's more on Penn State than it is for us, because I still have us losing one more game during the regular season, only because I'm one of those Pitt fans that know Pitt can Pitt.
Right.
So
you have them days where you just eat shit, right?
Yeah, well, see, here's the thing, though. We eat, breathe, and shit. So it's like, when people tell us to eat shit, Pitt, I'm like, we do that every single year when we don't do good. So,
fair enough. That's fair enough.
Look, the last thing I'll say before I let Jeff on is I do not think Pitt is the best team in the country. I think they're the best team in the ACC. I think they're better than Wake Forest, and I think they'll contend for an ACC title game. If the playoff committee was smart, they would keep Pitt out of the playoffs.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think, honestly, beating Clemson was probably the biggest win as far as from here on out that Pitt could have accomplished. So even if y'all do trip up, I think beating Clemson is going to give y'all confidence, and that's going to help y'all if you end up playing an undefeated Wake Forest. I think Pitt will beat Wake Forest. I really do.
Definitely. Well, I'll let you go. Let Jeff get on if he doesn't wait 5 minutes, and I'll see you on your next show.
All right, bud. Thanks a lot.
No problem.
All right. TikTok, Jeff, man. Line's open. Credit to Talk is Pitt, though. He did wait a good 4 or 5 minutes on that. That's what a lot of people don't realize about the YouTube community. We all, pretty much know each other, and we do try to do even though we're fans of rival teams and different fan bases, we get along and we try to look out for each other and, just make sure that we give everybody a chance and a turn to talk. What's going on, Mr. Webster?
Hey, how are we doing? My bad, Golden Blue. There must be quite a bit of a lag between.
Oh, it's all right. That happens.
No, we got a big matchup Saturday, sir, between the Cyclones, who I am a photographer for, and your Mountaineers, and I think we will not have anywhere near the blowout that we did last year.
Yeah.
I expect Iowa State to win, but it's not going to be 42-6.
Hey, hold on. Let me write down something. Big Nasty with the $5 super chat. He says, OSU fan here. Who do you think should be the top 4? That's a great question. And by the way, with your $5 super chat, that is now one entry for you to win a full-size helmet. So if you win, I'm assuming you'll win a full-size Ohio State helmet. Every $5 is one entry. So you get entered, sir. Well done. Any comments on that? Your top 4. Let's talk about that real quick.
My top 4?
Yeah.
I've got Georgia number one. They're the clear number one.
Right.
And then I've got Ohio State, Oklahoma, and Alabama, and you can put them in any order you want.
I
think Cindy Nasty is a paper tiger. They would not survive as a member of the Big Ten or the Big 12 or the SEC or the ACC. They couldn't play that schedule week after week after week after week. The fact that they're built on 3 stars would eventually catch up to them.
Well, okay, here would be my response to that. Okay, I get that, but I think Cincinnati going undefeated and doing what they did last year would earn them a right this year, this particular year. I'm not saying do that every year and you're in. I'm thinking for this year, that earns them, a chance to get in. They get in, and it gives them a chance to either refute or prove the point of everybody saying, hey, if Cincinnati gets in, they're going to get blown out. If a group of 5 team gets in, they're going to get blown out. Well, that's still hearsay because you haven't let it happen yet. And blowouts happen all the time. So I think in this particular year, I would go 1 Georgia, 2, I would bump Cincinnati down a few spots. I have them in, but I would say 2 would be, I'm going to say Ohio State. 3 is where I would put Cincinnati, and reluctantly 4, Oklahoma. And then 5th spot probably to Oregon. I'm still back and forth on Ohio State and Oregon. I know Oregon has the head-to-head, but here's my thinking on that. I realize that they have the head-to-head, but in my opinion, Oregon's loss to Stanford is worse than Ohio State losing to Oregon. That's why I would have Ohio State in over Oregon.
I agree. I don't think, and this is not, it's my personal opinion, and it's also what I think is the opinion of the committee, that they're not going to put Cincinnati, even if they are undefeated, they're not going to put them in over a Power 5 one-loss conference champion. They're just not going to do it. They're going to say a win over a bad Indiana team and a win over Notre Dame is not enough. Strength of schedule, Cincinnati's schedule is not as strong as Wake Forest's to put them in over a one-loss conference champion. But all this talk about who's your 1, who's your 2, who's your 3, who's your 4, and the AP poll means squadouche. It means nothing. The AP poll means dickwad. That's just for the media. That's just for the media and for the fans. It's what the committee's poll says. When that comes out in another week or so, that's when we need to worry about where your team is, not where they are right now.
Absolutely. That's what I said earlier. I like where, as far as not exactly number 2, I like where they're at as far as being in the top 4 in the AP poll, but that doesn't mean anything. The committee could say, well, their SOS isn't good enough for us, and we're going to start them at number 6, and then they would have some work to do to get in.
You were talking earlier, a couple of you were talking about Alabama's always getting the benefit of the doubt. Why? And I'm a Bama alum, for those that don't know, class of 89. And they'll say, well, why did Alabama drop to number 9? You know what? I would have cared less if they had dropped to number 9. You know why? Because if they went out, which would include a win over Georgia in the SEC championship game, a one-loss Alabama SEC champion is absolutely getting in. I don't care if they came from number 9 or whatever. The AP poll doesn't matter. All these things will work themselves out.
Right.
Why does Alabama get the doubt? Well, here you go, fans. How did the one-loss Alabama teams in 2012, 2011, 2015, 2017, how did those one-loss Alabama teams turn out? With national championships? Yeah. So
I agree with that.
Do they get the benefit of the doubt after having the best recruiting class in the nation 5 of the last 7 years? Yes, they get the benefit of the doubt. I'm sorry that it's not your team. That's just too bad.
I understand that argument. I really do. I think where I come from, I don't know what their rationale is. But for me, the way my brain works is, it should be on a year-to-year basis. So, whoever loses to an unranked team should follow the same amount of spots Whoever loses to a ranked team should fall to the same amount of spots. Road spots, home spots. So everything is the same. So if you lose to, let's say you lose to a ranked team at home, that's a 5-spot drop across the board. Okay. Let's say you lose to a ranked team on the road, and all this depends on the scores as well. Let's say that's an automatic 3-spot drop. Unranked team on the road, automatic 7-spot drop. Unranked team at home, 10-spot drop. So to me, it's more about not just Alabama, everybody, because Ohio State dropped different, Iowa's dropped different, Penn State dropped different, and it just so happens Alabama dropped the least.
Right, and even though I just made the argument that why Alabama gets the benefit of the doubt, I could really care less if they don't, because it'll play itself out. If they lose one more game and they have 2 losses, they're not getting in the playoffs. So it doesn't matter where they're ranked; they're not in. If they win out, they're in. That's it. It doesn't matter. The rankings are just a number at that point.
Yeah.
So all I'm trying to say is my opinion, and it's just my opinion, of why it is the AP voters are giving them the benefit of the doubt. That's all I'm saying. What the committee thinks, we'll find out.
Right.
We'll find out. And the committee's hand will be forced. Michigan playing Michigan State still has to play Ohio State. The Big Ten East still has to eat each other alive.
Yep.
All these things are going to work themselves out, and all we're doing is giving ourselves migraines, worrying over a pointless AP poll.
The big thing that would really, raise some eyebrows if somehow Auburn were to be able to win the Iron Bowl at the end of the season, but miss the SEC championship. Alabama gets in, and somehow they have the game of their lives for this season, and they beat Georgia. They're a 2-loss SEC champion, and then Georgia is a 1-loss non-champion. That's when some real chaos could happen.
Well, that would be insane. The other thing that could be insane is if Iowa State, who is 16-2 in the last 5 years in the month of October, and which is why they're going to win Saturday, if Iowa State, who I told you would beat Oklahoma State, did,
yeah.
I
predicted that one too.
Iowa State's got Texas at home. They've got a bad TCU at home.
Mm-hmm.
They're at West Virginia. They've got to go to Oklahoma, where their last time there, they lost by 1 the time before they beat Baker Mayfield.
Yep.
Iowa State could screw up everything in the Big 12. I mean, and I know a lot of people who hate Oklahoma hope that happens. But we could have a real mess in the Big 12. Oregon could drop another game.
Freaking Baylor could win the Big 12.
What happens if Wake Forest is 12-0? I mean, but like I say, it's all great fun to talk about, but we just need to all just be patient and sit back and let these games play out, and it'll all take care of itself. I bet half of us in here are going to feel a lot different about whoever our teams are, whoever they are.
Yeah. We're
all going to probably feel different in 3 weeks than we do right now.
What about, I know we're playing the what-if game, but this one is doable, especially seeing him play. What if Baylor won the Big 12 championship? I'm pretty sure they only have 1 loss still. Would they get in as a 1-loss Big 12 champion?
Yeah, that's a good question, because then you got to look around and you go, well, is Ohio State the 1-loss Big Ten champion? What if it's a 2-loss Iowa team that wins the Big 12, the Big Ten? I mean,
what if Penn State runs the table?
Right. All sorts of. I mean, dumber things have happened.
Yeah.
Who knows? I mean, I didn't think Alabama was going to lose to Texas A&M. I said all summer long. I tried to calm all the Alabama fans down all summer long and said, look, we're going to be 11-1 in Atlanta because the loss is going to be to Auburn, not to Texas A&M. Well, now if they do get that loss to Auburn, they're out.
With me, it was the opposite. With me, during the offseason, I was like, that is a trap game. Alabama's losing to Texas A&M on the road. And then the season starts progressing, and I changed my mind because Texas A&M doesn't show any offense at all. I'm like, no, that's not going to be any issues for Alabama. What happens? It's an issue for Alabama. So, I mean, I'm expecting...
I'm Ole Miss and then lose to Texas A&M. Right.
The thing is, I'm expecting complete craziness except for Georgia.
Yeah, I think Georgia's very, very good. And I just caution people, you can't fall into the trap, well, A beat B by so many points, and C beat A by so many points. Therefore, B beats C by because
transitive properties.
I mean, Mississippi State beats Texas A&M, who then beats Alabama, who then goes to Starkville and beats Mississippi State 49-9.
Yep.
You know, so that's a dangerous trap to fall into. And the thing to remember is we're talking about 19, 20, 21-year-old athletes here. Anything can happen. It's incredibly hard to be undefeated.
And it takes some luck. It takes some luck. It does.
Yeah, I mean, it's brutal, and you never know what's going to happen. You can have Oklahoma State got stopped inches short on what really comes down to a judgment call, gets stopped on 4th down, and so Iowa State preserves the win.
Yep.
I mean, Michigan State blocks the punt, recovers it. The guy returns it for a touchdown against Michigan a few years ago. I mean,
that was 2015. I will never forget that game. I've explained that a million times. People do not realize how perfect that play had to be for Michigan State to win it. Not only did they have to block the punt, but they had to pick it up, and they had to score a touchdown on that play or they don't win.
Right.
If Michigan gets that punt off and they don't return it, they lose. If Michigan goes for it and dances around for 5 seconds, they lose. If Michigan gets the punt blocked but still recovers, they lose. So exactly what happened for Michigan State to win happened. That was unbelievable.
Yeah, and that's what is so much fun about college football, because even when it happens to your team, like, I was just sick when Texas A&M beat Bama. But those are the things that happen, and it's that kind of, I don't want to say unpredictability, because you can predict most of these things, but you never know when the meteor is going to come from outer space and like, oh my God, we've only got 3 days before it hits Arizona. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's the unexpected, which you don't get hardly in the NFL. You don't in the pro game. They're all so good and they're all so talented that you very rarely get the surprise out of nowhere bonk on the side of the head.
Yep.
But you get that in the college game. Hey, I've taken up way too much time. Let me get off the line and let somebody else get in here. Thanks, Golden Blue.
All right, bud. That was a great conversation, though. I enjoyed it.
All right. Great show as always.
All right. Call in on Saturday, all right? I believe good old Mr. Jeff had to run. Something came up. But, yeah, I'm going to end it with that. I had a good time. Time flew by really fast on this one, guys. I mean, it always flies, but it flew by fast on this one. I saw something in there that I wanted to answer there real quick. What was it? Oh, it wasn't answering. It was talking about the Michigan State punt block. And XDrang93 says the announcer's voice crack is still funny. I can hear that. You know what? When I get done with this live show, I'm going to go back and watch it. It's always worth a watch. When you're done with the live show, go watch it. Always worth a watch. I can hear the cracking of the voice in my head. Amazing stuff. So, appreciate everybody stopping by. Another great show because of you. Because of you. We had this live show was over 2 hours long, one of the longer ones, but it felt like 15 minutes. It really did. We had great calls, great trash talk. I know we got off to more of a kumbaya situation where we're talking about West Virginia and people's seasons, but we got into the trash talk slowly, but we finally got into it, and I had a good time. Hope y'all had a good time. Quick reminder of my Super Chat contest. Every $5 is one entry. So if you Super Chat $5, one entry, $10, two entries, and so on and so forth. Tonight, Big Nasty with the $5 Super Chat. He has one entry. I haven't 100% decided if it's going to be a week from this Saturday or a week from Wednesday. But trust me, I will let you know on Saturday which one it's going to be. I just want to give everybody a chance to get in on this and get entered. We've raised the money for the full helmet. We're good to go. I can get it. So that is one of the prizes. And don't forget about the other prize. I know that's the big prize that everybody wants, but you also win a $50 prize from tristatewoodsketch.com. So that's a great Christmas present as well. For that someone that you have no idea who to shop for. A family photo, a couple's photo, children's photo, logo of your team, whatever. It works, and they will definitely enjoy it. I promise you that. So, anyways, y'all have a great night. I appreciate everybody that stopped by, everybody that called in, all the super chats. Amazing stuff, guys. It's because of you that Golden Blue Dude keeps going. Without you guys, there is no Golden Blue Dude. I'm just a face, and I'm just a voice. But you guys are Golden Blue Dude. Y'all make the channel freaking awesome, and I enjoy doing it. I'm going to get off here, and another regular video will be coming at you tomorrow. Depending on how active the day is, maybe a couple. We'll see. But y'all have a good night, and I'll see you on Saturday.